Hey guys, so I am so excited. Obviously, in the light of COVID-19, we are getting creative and really trying different things out to keep involved with our community and to keep spreading good words, good vibes, and all of those things. So today I asked my friend Nicole Maxali to come on and just speak with me, have a little conversation about topics that everyone is dealing with and going through. And I think we're all just trying to figure out answers. We're trying to calm ourselves. We're trying to get ourselves through. We don't know what's next. So that uncertainty is a little scary. But I thought Nicole would be a perfect person to bring on because I personally just went through a course. I finally took it. Your girl has been doing this course for how many years now?
4 years.
4 years she's been doing this course, and something told me this year, 2020, that I needed to be a part of it. And it is called Manifest Magic. And it's all about manifestation and just really living in that life of law of attraction and intentions and just self-care, all of that amazingness. So I really wanted her to kind of come on, drop some knowledge on us, and really help us. So Nicole, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more.
Hey, so yes, everything Ashley said was 100% true. I teach a course online. It's 8 weeks called Manifesting Magic. On top of that, I'm an actor. That's how I met Ashley, the very talented Ashley. She was a stylist on set of the project we were doing. I also write. I'm a producer, filmmaker, motivational speaker internationally.
Yes, girl.
All of the good things by the grace of God.
Just go ahead and start, and then we'll have a real dialogue about it, because I think the special part about this conversation I wanted to have with you is really just being transparent, being real to what it is. We're all nervous, we're all scared, we all have anxiety about it, but we can't let that be us, and we cannot live in that. We have to really still, like, everybody keeps calling me and they're like, how are you, Ashley, and what's going on? And I'm like, I'm just here trying to be positive and productive. Like, what you gonna do? You gotta be positive about it. If we sit here and talk about the negative all day, what are we gonna do?
Exactly. One of the things I teach in my course, 100%, exactly what you said, but one of the things I do teach is that everything is energy.
Yeah.
Right. And there's that saying that energy flows where your attention goes. Right. So I myself, we're all human. Even though I teach this course, I constantly tell my clients, I'm still human. I still can make human mistakes and fail, but I think for us, and especially with this course and the law of attraction, it's you are mindful, right, of when you're starting to spiral down into a lower vibration, and whether that's fear or chaos or anxiety, right? And I started to catch myself in the past 2 days, like constantly on Instagram, constantly on social media or on the news cycle.
Well, I'll even say for you too, because you actually, like, your husband is sick. So whether it is or not, he's still going through a little like flu situation. And so it's like really like you're living with fear, and so to speak, but I'm not saying you're living with it, but
No, 100%. Yeah. But it was kind of like an exercise in, you talk the talk, but can you walk the walk, right?
Right.
And so like the first day when he legit like flu symptoms, fever, chills, fatigue, couldn't eat, of course your human like survival mode goes into like, oh my God, it starts freaking out. And like I'm asthmatic. So I have already lung issues. So, the first thing we did was like quarantine him. I disinfected the entire house. I put a mask on, he put a mask on, and I just like I literally locked him in our bedroom.
Poor Pierre.
And I was like, text me if you need anything. So like, it's sort of like I'm his warden and nurse. But yeah, it took me a couple of days to get back into the vibration of love and positivity and releasing all that fear and anxiety, and really kind of like settling myself and grounding myself, since I am living with possibly someone who has this virus. And also really being in communication with folks, right? And sharing with them. I thankfully have a space of young women who I was able to share with, and I just like allowed myself to be vulnerable and allowed myself to cry and be like scared for a little bit. But I also knew not to dwell in that, right? And not to like allow those thoughts to become the reality.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that that's such a good point, because we're human. We can have those thoughts, but it's what you do after the thought comes up, after you let it be and live for a second. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to let it become this big situation, or do you like tell yourself, and done and seen? You know, one thing I've always learned, even with anxiety, is like when the anxiety comes up, let it bubble up, let it like live for a second and let it flow out. So I think that that's just something that I've been practicing even with this. Is just like, yeah, I am scared. Like, where my money gonna come from?
Yeah.
Like,
It's a real aspect.
What is gonna happen? How long am I gonna be in this house? Like, you know, all of those things. But you gotta let the thought be and then let it go.
Yeah, and I think it's also something our pastor talked about just last Sunday at Hillsong. Pastor Carl Lentz was,
yes, Carl.
You're right. Don't allow negative words to take root in your soul. Right. So like, as like you just said, as humans, yes, express what you're feeling, your emotions. Don't repress that, because when you repress it, it actually gives it more power. Right? So like living your subconscious.
Right.
But when you allow it, like you said, to release and flow out, then it gives you more power.
Yeah.
Right. And also on top of that, when you give it to God 100%, because God has more power than us as humans, right?
Then he's in control.
Exactly. Then it's like a whole amount of pressure, anxiety, fear is being lifted off of you. Right. So it's always, for me, and I remind my clients this all the time, it's always sort of like a game of remembering, right? Yes, we are humans, but we also have to remember we have a connection to God.
Yeah.
And that connection is never severed. It's never, you know, gone. There might be times when we are, you know, succumbing to chaos and fear, and we think it is, but really it isn't.
Right.
So like always constantly remember you have that connection, you have that lifeline. It's like an unlimited lifeline.
Right.
Right. And so once you remember that, it allows those negative thoughts or words to not take root in your soul. But sometimes I forget, right? Like the other day when I was scrolling on Instagram for an hour. So then I have to pray. I have to remind myself to pray. I have to remind myself to meditate. I have to remind myself to be in connection with someone else who might be stronger, you know, who might remind me. Last night I had to be in connection with a whole group of women who basically like allowed me to cry. Yeah. And that like, whew, like I felt so much better after crying.
Yeah, I saw your screenshot. Literally, what was it, like 10 of y'all? It was more than
like
10.
13.
Yeah,
14?
like
yeah.
Screen. And I actually was thinking, I was like, ooh, this is good for a community thing. What did you guys use for that?
Zoom.
Yeah. And it was like everybody's picture was up there. And that's an amazing way, I feel like, in this time to like get on Zoom with your friends, do like a little party or something like that where you guys can all talk to one another.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot, especially on social media. Like people will even like drink together. Although I drinking right now because that actually lowers your immune system. So
good point. Yeah. Well, that's a good point that you're bringing up too, is just like, even with, because I know one point we wanted to do was like the law of attraction and just the things that you are doing to really help yourself to gravitate towards positivity, good energy, and all of that stuff. And I think even with your eating, like you're saying, it's like sugars and things of that nature, not only will, you know, decrease your immune system, but it's even how you feel. Like, I know one thing I'm struggling with right now is, first of all, I've never been to the grocery store so much in my life in 1 week. I'm like, where is this food going? And it's because I'm snacking so much and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And so I'm like, I got to get on a schedule because I'm like eating, and it's not good.
And that's what I'm sort of like, that's the other thing I wanted to say was, as far as law of attraction and our perception, what can we control, right? When things like the pandemic seem like so out of our control, and the control that we have is our choice to see things in a different way, right? And one of the things our pastor said this Sunday was, you could either see things as a burden, or you can see it as a blessing and or a lesson. Right. So I'm trying to see my husband in quarantine in our bedroom as a blessing because if he hadn't been, he'd be eating all of our rations right now.
That's a good way to look at it. Wrap it up with this one for us. So law of attraction, I think, is definitely a major point that a lot of us are not actually looking at as something that we need to focus on in this time. So just give me the simple, like, 4 or 5 things to really pinpoint when it comes to law of attraction that people can take away from this.
I think one, like I said, your energy flows where your attention goes, right? So if you're constantly on social media or on the news cycle and you're constantly giving yourself all that intake of negative news and not just information, but just negative stories, you will start to have anxiety, right? And you'll start to attract that because God and the universe will start to see, oh, they're living in fear. This person wants these experiences because that's all they're putting out, right? That's all your energy is putting out. But if you start to shift and you start to do things that help you remember your connection to God, right? And your law and your power of attraction.
Yeah.
Whether that's, prayer, meditation, exercise, waking up with intentions, breath work, self-care, even just taking a shower today made me feel 100% better.
I know, me too, girl.
Cleaning your space, I'm a little bit OCD and I disinfected the entire house, but still, like, it made me feel better.
Right. No,
so like just allowing yourself to shift and reminding yourself that you have more power over your thoughts, and your perception of things than you think, actually.
I love it. So yeah, guys. So obviously Nicole has definitely did a list of things that we should really consider when it comes to law of attraction. This is the time to attract all good, positive vibes. So hopefully you have got a little tidbit that you can start to take on your daily new normal routine. And yes, let's attract all those positive vibes. All right. Drop down, let us know in the comments what's been working for you, and see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Ashley.